My favorite crab meat pizza is here. Mom, eat as much as you like, my daughter-in-law says, placing the plate in front of me with an unusual kindness. I'm not naive enough to miss this sudden change in behavior, though. I suspect my eldest child and his wife are up to something, trying to trick me with food. They've been unfriendly and pulled various stunts on me before, so this sudden kindness seems suspicious. I'm not someone who'll easily let myself be looked down upon. I can protect myself and even turn the tables on them if I need to. My name is Mary. I'm a housewife in my 60s, living alone since my husband passed away years ago. When he died, my eldest child and their spouse suggested I move in with them. They were newlyweds at the time, and I wanted them to enjoy that special period of their marriage, so I declined. Instead, they moved into a house nearby, saying they were worried about me. I was grateful for their thoughtfulness. They visited often, even when I told them they didn't need to. My child would say, "I'm worried about you, Mom," and my daughter-in-law would come over even if my child was busy, saying, "I want us to get along." I was proud of my child for choosing such a caring partner, though I didn't understand the real reason behind their kindness. Looking back, I feel frustrated with my own naivety, as it's rare to receive kindness without strings attached. I fell for their sweet words, only to later find out their true intentions. One day, they visited and stayed the night since they didn't have plans the next day. Not wanting to intrude on their time as a couple, I suggested they could go home since it was nearby, but my daughter-in-law insisted. "We want to get closer to you, so we'd like to stay." So, I offered them the guest room. My late husband built this house, which is far too big for just me, so there are many empty rooms. The guest room was a bit dusty, but my daughter-in-law helped clean it. She's skilled with housework and has been helpful since marrying my child, so I had a good impression of her. In the middle of the night, I woke up thirsty and went to the kitchen. On the way, I noticed the light was still on in the living room. Curious, I peeked in and saw my child and their spouse sitting on the sofa, talking. I couldn't resist listening to what they were saying. I heard my eldest child complain, "I'm exhausted, that old lady makes us do too much. Just hang in there a bit longer." My eldest child said to his wife, "Once we get Mom's inheritance, we're done with her." If her husband hadn't been a CEO, we wouldn't even have to go through this act. She's so easily fooled just because we're kind to her. Mom's always been emotionally vulnerable, so she'll probably leave everything to us. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Was their kindness just a lie to take my late husband's inheritance? All those times they said, "We're family, and we want to support each other," was it all fake? Why were they so focused on my inheritance? I didn't know of any money troubles, but maybe they were struggling and I just wasn't aware of it. Wanting to understand, I asked around the neighborhood and talked to some friends. Eventually, I discovered the shocking truth. My eldest and his wife were deeply involved in gambling and had piled up massive debts, more than they could ever repay with regular jobs. I finally understood their desperation for the inheritance. My late husband had left them a significant sum, but they'd wasted it all and turned it into debt. Their kindness toward me was just a ploy to get more money. From that point on, I kept my distance. When they'd offer to help, saying, "We want to be there for you, Mom," I'd politely respond, "Thank you, but I've grown used to living alone. Please focus on your own lives." My daughter-in-law's expression would turn stern, annoyed that I wasn't following their plan. I don't need kindness that comes with expectations. One day, after keeping my distance for a while, I got a call from my daughter-in-law. "We need to talk," she said. When I arrived at their home, she led me to the living room, where she spoke in a serious tone. "Mom, do you have a new love interest?" she asked, surprising me completely. I had no idea where she got this idea, but she continued, saying, "You've been distant lately, so I got suspicious. I didn't think you'd be so cold. Have you forgotten Dad, who worked so hard for you? Now you just want to be happy for yourself?" "There's no one else," I assured her, "and you're mistaken." But she didn't listen, convinced that if I found someone new, it would threaten her and my child's plans to get my inheritance. "Mom," she added coldly, "you should really reconsider dating at your age. Have you thought about your position?" Her words stung. "Why would you say something so cruel?" "I don't mean to sound harsh," my daughter-in-law said. "I'm just worried about you, Mom. What if this person is deceiving you? You'd be the one getting hurt." And I couldn't stand that, but I could see right through her. She wasn't worried about me. She was only trying to protect her chance at my inheritance. Still, she hid her true feelings behind a caring mask. I decided to play along and wait for the right moment to reveal their true intentions, and that moment came sooner than expected. "Happy birthday, Mom. It's just a little something for you," my eldest said, handing me a bag from a fancy pizza place. Inside were several pizzas, including my favorite with crab meat. "Thank you, let me just put these on plates," I said, but my daughter-in-law quickly took over. "No, you're the star today, Mom, just sit down, I'll do it." She took the bag and went to the kitchen, with my eldest child following her. To anyone else, it would look like a thoughtful birthday celebration, but I knew better. I had a feeling something was up. Soon, they returned with plates, and in front of me was the crab meat pizza. "Here's your favorite, Mom, eat up." My eldest smiled, nodding in agreement, but I wasn't fooled. Their overly kind behavior made me suspicious. Now that my husband was gone, I had to protect myself. They would regret trying to make a fool out of me. "Well, it does look delicious," I said thoughtfully, "but my tastes have changed lately. I think I'd like the foie gras on your plate instead." I reached over for my eldest child's plate. I'd always said I didn't like foie gras, so that plate had extra on it. "Wait, Mom," my eldest child protested, but I tilted my head in fake confusion. "Is there a problem? You used to love crab meat too, didn't you?" "Well, guess my taste has changed too," my eldest stammered. "I actually prefer foie gras now." "Then let's not be biased," I said with a smile, "and share both." Suddenly, my eldest child's face turned pale. The crab meat pizza, my supposed favorite, was only on my plate. They had planned something sneaky, and their reluctance to eat it confirmed my suspicions. I picked up a slice of the crab meat pizza and held it out. "It looks so delicious, why don't you have a bite?" With no way out, my eldest took a reluctant bite, bracing for whatever they had planned. My daughter-in-law looked at my eldest with concern, her face full of worry. My eldest child's face had turned pale, almost green. "Oh, you don't look well. Maybe the pizza didn't taste good, Mom," my daughter-in-law said, clearly panicked. "I'm sorry, let's just call it a day. I'll make something fresh for you another time." She sounded nervous, as if she wanted to end the meal as quickly as possible. "Your husband doesn't look well," I replied. "Why don't you stay the night? It wouldn't be safe for you to go home like this." "No, we'll leave," my daughter-in-law insisted, trying to make excuses. Her attempts to hide her panic only made it clear that she was eager to leave. I'd always thought they were terrible liars. They fell apart whenever something unexpected happened. Then, something strange happened. After a few moments, my eldest child suddenly collapsed with a thud. When I went to check, I found him snoring. It was clear he had been drugged with a sleeping pill. "Oh, looks like he fell asleep," I said, tilting my head, but my daughter-in-law lost her composure and shouted, "Enough, why won't things go as planned? We talked about how important today was." She shook my eldest, trying to wake him. Wake up," she cried, even slapping his cheek, but he stayed asleep. Stunned, I watched as her true nature finally came out. Ignoring me, she began to reveal everything. "I've been pretending to be the perfect daughter-in-law, thinking if I sweet-talked you enough, I'd get the inheritance and pay off our debts. Today was supposed to be the final step. We planned to put you to sleep and steal your bank card. It's all your fault this didn't work. What are you going to do about it?" She glared at me, frustrated and angry. So, they had planned to drug me on my own birthday and steal my bank card. Using someone's birthday to pull off such a cruel scheme, that was truly despicable. I decided to be honest with her. "Actually, I've known all along that you've been nice to me just for the money. That's why I kept my distance and didn't eat the pizza. I'm not as foolish as you two seem to think." My words left her shocked. She really thought I hadn't figured out their scheme. "Did you really think I was clueless?" I asked. "I've been suspicious of your sudden kindness from the start. I even overheard you talking about the inheritance that time you stayed over. It's foolish to discuss your plans in the very house of the person you're trying to deceive." "Don't call us fools," she snapped back. "We've been trying our best." "If this is your best, then it's no wonder you're in debt. Is gambling how you handle things? It's really pitiful." At the mention of debt, her face turned pale. "How much do you know?" she asked, visibly anxious. "I did some digging," I replied. "I found out about your gambling habits and the huge debt you've piled up. I was shocked at how much trouble you're in." She looked defeated, and her tone changed. "Mom, I'm really sorry. Please forgive us. We can't manage without some money. Please lend us some, and I promise we'll pay you back." Her confident demeanor was gone, replaced by desperation. Even after everything, she was still asking for money. I realized that to her, I was just a convenient source of financial support. "Sorry," I said, "but I'm not giving you a single cent. I can't trust people like you to pay me back." Take responsibility for your own choices. Please, don't say that. You have the inheritance from your late husband, surely you can help us. No, I replied firmly, handle your own problems. I'm done. My daughter-in-law looked down, clearly disappointed, but she seemed to understand that I wouldn't change my mind. She didn't ask for money again. After that, my contact with my eldest son and his wife faded. They stopped visiting and hardly ever reached out. But surprisingly, I didn't feel lonely. Instead, I felt a sense of relief, free from the people who had tried to deceive me. Eventually, my eldest child and daughter-in-law moved away. According to my neighbors, some rather shady people took them, likely due to their unpaid debts. They were probably taken to a far-off place, facing consequences they can't escape now. Whatever hardships they might be going through are no longer my concern. Our ties are completely severed. I looked at my late husband's photo and shared the end of this chaotic chapter with him. He seemed almost relieved in the picture, as if he knew everything was finally resolved. Now, my only family is my late husband. He was the one who always stood by me and truly cared for me. Life is short, and I want to live it with strength, treasuring the memories we shared.